Hey everybody, it's time for a new edition of Horror by the Book with Noel Wing. That's me. Sorry I've been gone so long, there's just been a lot going on. And I'll explain why in a moment. But in this episode, we're going to talk about the cool year it was for 2022 horror in general. So, here we go. Cue it. It hasn't been that long, come on. Cue it. Sorry about that. Be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Horror by the Book with Noel Wing. I've been gone a lot this year as far as YouTube goes. I've been really busy. I've been writing. Tales from Hallowed Ground Volume 3 is out. My biggest work yet as far as volume-wise. 7 more short stories. One of them takes place in Bosnia. I have a haunted love story in that mixture. A prequel to one I published in Tales from Hallowed Ground Volume 2. So I'm really proud of the work. I enjoyed writing it, but since I haven't had time to read, I haven't been doing many YouTubes, but I did have time to go to the movie. So I'm going to do a movie one. And I don't tend to do a lot of movie episodes, but I have to admit, I was impressed with some of these films, and it shows how great and solid the horror genre is right now. Let's start with Barbarian, right? I love Haunted Corridors. I thought the movie was, all in all, a thumbs up, more than a thumbs down. I'm not going to sit and say, oh, I can't wait to see that again. Nah. And there's one part of the film I thought was really hokey, and you gotta watch CGI, right? You just gotta watch CGI because it can get pretty phony looking. Like in It, the second It, a few years ago, when the lady was flying across the living room, the audience was laughing. Well, there's another similar scene that reminded me of that in this. It was supposed to be scary, but it was comedy hour in the theater from that silly CGI scene. So, people need to know what they're shooting, and it has to make sense with the visuals. All in all, I might give it a 6. 1 out of 10, scale 6. I like creepy corridors. I'm all in it. And the antagonist was actually pretty creepy, but it just wasn't a favorite film of mine, but it was good. I mean, it was worth watching. Let's go to Pearl. I thought Pearl was better than Barbarian. Pearl is a sort of a prequel to a movie called X that was released earlier in 2022 that I did not get a chance to see. I'm going to have to stream it pretty soon. But it's about a young lady that's kind of trapped on a farm. This is World War I, I believe. And if you make her mad, she might stick a pitchfork in you. I thought the movie was very interesting. I thought the actress in that was first rate. To me, that's as good as acting as I've seen in any film for a while. There's a 5-minute monologue at the end, where she's talking to her cousin, and man, that's good stuff. Just a well-delivered set of lines. So I'm giving Pearl a thumbs up. I'll go 7 on Pearl. I was entertained. It's got kind of a strange pace to it. I thought it was interesting. So I thought it was a good film. I'll give it a thumbs up on that. At box office, I didn't make a ton of money, but I don't think it lost money. I didn't cost that much to make it. But because most of it was shot in one location, I just don't think it cost much to make the film, probably. But it was kind of cool. I can't wait to watch X now. I need to stream it and find out where it is out there in streamers land. Next one, though, it might shock you a little bit, was Nope. I love Jordan Peele's work. I think Get Out is one of my favorite films of all time. I love Get Out. I liked Us. Get Out was so good to me that I went and saw it right after COVID sort of let up, because there were no movies being made. Some of the theaters where I live were showing second runs of other movies, and I went and saw it again. Get Out was as good the second time as it was the first, almost. Really good film. Nope didn't quite get there. I thought Nope was extremely boring. It started off cool. I love the start where the guy was hit with all the stuff from the sky. Mysterious, weird, all in on that. I'm paying attention. Then there's an hour of nothingness. A void of activity, a void of anything interesting. It was just boring. I think it's really hard to have a bad guy that just floats around in the sky. Michael Myers is behind the bushes. Freddy Krueger's in your dreams, right? Jason Voorhees is outside of the cabin, with his axe or whatever. There's a saber walking around or whatever. When you have someone just hiding in a cloud floating around, you lose that interpersonal connection. You don't have a connection with the antagonist. I think it's really hard to make that. That's the biggest issue with that film to me. Because the acting was fine. It's really hard to shoot a film like that, I think. And let's talk about the chimp scene. Those of you who saw Nope, I'm assuming most of you did that are watching this, if you're interested, in horror. The chimp scene. That's probably the scariest part of the movie. But think about it. If you whacked out the whole chimp scene, would it really change the movie? To me, that was a waste of time. If I put something like that in one of my books, my editor would have whacked all of it out because it has nothing to do with the story, and you're just wasting time. I thought unless you're going to say, well, the chimp scene was an example of why that character, when he was a kid, had that happen to him, and why he's not afraid of evil later, maybe, but the character involved was even kind of a sub-character of the movie. So I really don't get that whole part. Like I say, it's the scariest part of the film. It just didn't make a ton of sense to have it in there because it had nothing to do with anything to me. And I just thought that the Nope was really dull. A lot of people liked it. It got okay reviews. It got from the movie databases, but it wasn't like spectacular reviews. And I just know Jordan Peele can do better. And I think when we look back on Jordan Peele's career someday, it's going to say, well, Nope was considered his worst film. To me, I think time will paint that picture for this one. I just think it's really hard to tell that story, And, to have the chimp scene was just silly. It needed edit it out, get rid of it. It didn't have anything to do with the movie. Let's go on with Smile. Smile, I believe, was the second highest earning, as far as ticket sales, the second highest earning film of the year. It was right behind Nope with probably a fraction of the budget. I think it only took 17 million to make and made 70 million almost. So it had a good year. I thought Smile was cool. It's really a possession movie. When the person smiles at you, you're about ready to die yourself. I thought it was really clever, and I hadn't seen anything like that really before. I've seen lots of possession movies, but that was a good one. I mean, that was clever, interesting. I thought the movie was good for horror. I think it came out, it did 2 weeks at #1 at the box office. Smile. Big time thumbs up for Smile. I enjoyed the heck out of that. Let's move on. Halloween Ends. Oh my gosh. This makes me so sad. I'm like one of the biggest Halloween franchise fans around. Look at my hat. See Michael Myers on my hat? That's Michael Myers. You all know him. I'll tell you what. That movie got hyped, right? The only reason that movie has as many views as it did because of the advertising and the name of the franchise. Because I'll tell you what, that was kind of a joke and a disservice to Michael Myers. You know what? And I heard one of the directors say, one of the big studio people say, oh, we're shooting all these last three, especially this one, out of John Carpenter's mold. No, you didn't. That felt like a Twilight movie from people who don't know how to do a Twilight movie. Because Twilight movies are better than that. They are. The juvenile-ish feeling love story in that film was just awful to me and a waste of my time. And here's John Carpenter. Those of you who've seen the movie, right? Let's say Michael Myers, walks out of the tunnel that he's been holed up in. He walks into the radio station, and on the phone, the radio station is Laurie Strode and the DJ's sitting there, talking on a call-in show. And he turns his head and listens to Laurie Strode's voice. Kind of like a dog when you talk to a dog and it's listening to you, And then he walks up behind the DJ, there's a knife, slits his throat, his head slams, makes a noise on the desk, right? And Laurie Strode's hello, kind of taken back. They cut away, she takes a step back. And Michael Myers walks to the window and looks out into the night, out of the front window, with kids running by with their Halloween bags full of candy, And Laurie Strode gets alarmed and says hello a couple more times, clicks her phone off, and goes to the window and looks out in the night too. That's a connection. A connection. Connect the two. Honest to Pete. The last two films in this series, one of them with Laurie Strode was chained up in the hospital half the time or whatever, or tethered or whatever. Stupid. I mean, guys, the story is about Michael Myers, and Laurie Strode. I don't know what the HELL that was, but it wasn't good. And don't take my word for it. Go to the major movie review sites. See some opinions on that. It ain't very good, folks. They use ain't's not a good word. Sorry, but I ain't going to stop using it. Anyway, go check out the reviews on it, right? I think it was 40% on one of them positive. It was terrible. And it's disservice to the franchise. And that same director's redoing An Exorcist, I've heard. It's going to be a sequel to the original one. I'm thinking to myself, man, you need to stay with the program. David Gordon Green, whatever his name is, stay with the program. You know, how about this for a scene? Michael Myers, you know, kills Laurie Strode's neighbors. He goes upstairs into the highest floor in the house, second or third floor, and he's looking through the window at Laurie Strode. You know, and Laurie Strode feels like she's getting watched and paranoid, and turns real quick and looks back out the window. Michael Myers is gone out of the other window next door. That's John Carpenter. I don't know what the hell you were doing. Let's move on. Terrifier 2. What a nice segue, because with the death of Michael Myers, essentially, the Halloween killer, we have a new killer in Halloween, and that's Art the Clown. He's a mime. I saw Terrifier 1. I knew what to expect. I knew it was going to be a bloody gore fest, limited plot. I didn't expect some detailed thing, that was carefully planned out. Although there's some new plot characters in this. I liked him. And I liked the lead girl. I thought she did a good job. Anyway, Art the Clown was cool in this movie. There was humor mixed in that the audience laughed at. Like when he's standing there like a Halloween decoration holding the guy's severed head, and the kid thought the Halloween decoration was really cool, and he, stuck his tongue out the kid. And anyway, there's a lot of funny scenes too when he's trying on the sunglasses in the Halloween store. He looked ridiculous, Art the Clown. Big time thumbs up. And you know what? They kept it simple. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Art the Clown is a killer. He's a mime. Keep it simple. These endless backstories ruin franchise. They dilute the meaning of them. And I thought that was really, really well done. And I think it ended up at $12 or $13 million in profit. I think it was number 12 overall out of all the horror movies on a $250,000 budget. You can't buy a house in a lot of places in the U.S. for that. So really well done. You know what? If the Terrifier franchise was a stock, I'd be buying it all in on the open stock market, because that's going to grow. He's going to shoot one more, he thinks, and then that'll be it, he says, because he doesn't want to make the franchise ridiculous like Jason Meets Freddy or Halloween 44, or, Friday the 13th, 26, or whatever we're at now. I know that's not really true, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm really impressed with Terrifier 2. It's well done. Let's go to my favorite movie I saw at the theater this year. That was Black Phone. I thought it was creepy. I thought it was cool. I mean, you start combining child abduction with, the supernatural, you got some scary stuff going on, and you got the kids calling in the room that have been already captured by the guy, and are now deceased. I thought it was really, really good, and I thought it was interesting. Most review sites agreed with me on that. Pretty well done. I thought it was creepy and good. I really enjoyed the Black Phone. I thought it was just really well done. I thought it was entertaining the whole time. And, as a parent, child abduction is about as high you can get on the fear scale. It really is. And it just combined the right elements to make a very scary movie, I thought. Let's go to another one that came out, I think it was spring or summer 2022, Firestarter. Another Firestarter. Of course, Stephen King wrote the novel. It's been done once already. I'm telling you, that's a hard movie to do. It's just hard to tell a movie through the head of a child. And I think the director did fine on it for what it is. You just can't tell the movie. That needs to be the last Firestarter ever made. You just can't tell the story, of that very well in film. It's just not enough story there to make an interesting movie to me. Great novel. Stephen King writes a lot of great novels, and I was one of them, but it just was a much better book than a movie, Firestarter. So I'm going to kind of go on from there. Let's go on. A couple more. The Invitation. Don't bother. Bodies. Kind of cheesy. I saw them at the theater. Don't bother. Stream them some night for 50-cent trial if you want to waste time getting some membership to some other streaming service. But don't spend much time on that. I did, let's see. Pray for the Devil, though, I saw. That's another Exorcist kind of movie. We have a demonic possession. It got some really bad reviews and some really good reviews. Like one of the major review sites, the actual critics gave it a very poor review, but the average fans like me gave it a very high review. So I thought it was pretty good, all in all, but there's a mistake they made. They had a real scary scene at the end. That was really terrifying, kind of, and bothersome. Didn't need to be there. The movie would have worked better with a better ending. It's when you start doing that kind of stuff, just adding scares in for the hell of it, don't necessarily go with the film. It really kind of makes it feel like they're just there to put a movie out, not really a decent plot. So, and this is just the last 5 minutes of the show. All I'm talking about, maybe even the last 2 minutes. You just don't slap scenes in for the hell of it. It got to have a purpose. So, that's my reviews of the movies this year. I was pretty impressed all in all. Horror genre was killing it. I'm interested to see what's going to come out in 2023. I'm sure there's going to be some remakes. You can't get away from those these days, but I'm going to start doing some reading, again, some book reviews. And I think my next episode may have a special guest on, and we're going to talk about possession, movies, books, possessions in the horror genre. And so I hope I can get this person on. I think it'll be a lot of fun to have her there and talk about it. So anyway, with all that, this is Horror by the Book with Noel Wing. Until next time, I'm out. And by the way, happy 2023.